Merry Christmas, everyone. Even if you don't celebrate the holiday, I hope these next couple days are filled with laughter, love, and you're surrounded by the people you truly care about. And what a gift I have for you guys today, because it was announced like 5 days ago actually, but officially announced today that we have season 2 and a movie of Spy X Family coming next year in 2023. And I don't know about you guys, but I am excited. And all I gotta say is, if you guys love Yor and want to see more of her, just wait until we get the cruise ship arc. You will love it. But let's just get straight into this festive spirit and talk about Spy X Family Part 2, Episode 13 today. The finale of Season 1, because it is an important one. Now, I said this episode is important because it is. Because we are having the Eden College Social Gathering. It's a semi-annual meeting of current and former Imperial scholars and their parents. It's going to feature the leading figures in business, science, technology, arts, and sports. And it's also the perfect place for Lloyd to make first contact with Donovan Desmond, which has been the entire goal of this season, basically, is to make contact with him for Operation Strix. As we see Lloyd in disguise trying to find the best way he can get in close to Donovan so he can get the first initial contact and understand what's going on. As he says, Western intelligence agents have tried to get in a number of times, but all attempts fail. I can't afford to do the same and make security even more alert for next time. And it's here he starts thinking that all of Wisdom's tower windows are fixed, so there's only one way to get in. The roof is covered by a garden, but an aerial insertion would be too inconspicuous. I haven't been able to find any underground routes, and the only entrance has rigorous identity checks and body searches, as well as cutting-edge detectors. It would be difficult to get in with a disguise or plant a listening device on someone. As Lloyd thinks, maybe with a certain amount of violence, I could get in once. If my objective was to assassinate Desmond, for example, I might very well be able to pull that off. But Operation Strix's objective is ongoing contact with him. I have to keep him alive and earn his trust in order to extract information. As he says, my best option right now is to meet him as Lloyd Forger. And it's here as we transition to the students. We see that so many of them are overjoyed by the prospect of having so many famous and influential people here. But Damien is troubled by this. As we take a flashback to earlier that night, the night before, we see that Damien actually was calling his brother, Demetrius, who is an Imperial scholar right now. As Damien asks him, so you're going to be at the gathering, right? When you see Father, could you tell him something for me? Could he come see me afterwards, even just for a little bit? I'll be waiting for him in the garden behind the second library. And Demetrius says, I'll tell him, but don't get your hopes up. He's a busy man. As they end up cutting the call there immediately after, and we see that they're not very close either. And it's here after reading his mind, Anya realizes that, oh, wait a minute. Second son's meeting the head bad guy today. I gotta do something. As she says, I'll tail the second son and face off against the bad guy myself. But Damien notices it and kind of tells her off because he doesn't like it. Or at least he won't admit he likes it. And Lloyd, overseeing this, is like, damn, I guess it's not working. I guess she's trying to make up with him in her own way. As he says, for now, I'm going to follow Damien in case I can meet his father outside. And as we transition back to Damien and his friends, as they see all these important and influential people here, all the Imperial scholars that they strive to be like, Damien starts to think to himself like, maybe I shouldn't see my father after all. And obviously this is terrible news for Lloyd. As Damien says, Father is a great man. He doesn't have time to waste on the likes of me. Just all the self-deprecation that he feels for himself is being personified right here in front of him with all these important people. And right before he's about to go cancel their meeting, our girl Anya comes in and saves the day. As she tells him, "You're just scared. I can tell. I know the truth. You only scored 50% on your last language test." As Damien's like, "What? How'd you know?" Wait a minute. What's that have to do with anything we're talking about here? But Anya's got him hook, line, and sinker right here as she says, "You're scared your father will know you did badly on the test. I got 17%, so I know how you feel. Not really." But she continues and says, "I don't know if father loves me, so I'm a little scared. He already gets angry at me all the time. But I believe in him. I love him. And that's why I've decided to show him my failed test with my head held high." And then she looks at Becky like, what are we talking about again? As Damien walks away all flustered saying, "Damn, now I feel like an idiot for about to cancel." As he says, "I'm going to go back to the garden and wait for my father." So Anya in her own way saved the mission. Lloyd's just like, "I'm not sure what happened, but good job, Anya." As we transition to the meeting point, we see that Anya's sitting on the stoop waiting to meet Donovan. And what could possibly happen next? She falls asleep there. Of course she does. So Becky actually has to carry her off. And they pass by Lloyd, who figured something like this would happen. So he has a plan. And it's here we transition to the crux of our episode. And we see just how sly Lloyd really is as he approaches Damien and his friends. As he says, "Excuse me, boys, you haven't seen a sheep keychain around here, have you? Apparently my daughter just loves it to bits, but now she's gone and dropped it somewhere. Woe is me." As we see that Damien found the replica that Lloyd made just to orchestrate this conversation to begin with. And as Damien hands it back to Lloyd, he says, "Hey, old man, do you happen to be Mr. Forger?" As Lloyd's like, "Oh yeah, that's me. But wait, you're Anya's classmates. Are you Damien Desmond by any chance?" As he gets down on a knee and says, "I'm sorry, my daughter behaved appallingly towards you the day of the entrance ceremony." As he says, "I'd love to be able to apologize to your parents as well." And as his father's approaching, Lloyd says, "I know this isn't fair to you, Damien. But for the sake of the mission, I'm going to have to cut into your time with your father a little." As we see that Donovan Desmond, his father, is here. And it's here we see that Lloyd moves quickly as he says, "Would you happen to be Chairman Desmond? I wanted to apologize for my daughter's dishonorable behavior towards your son." "Oh, how rude of me. My name is Lloyd Forger." As our first contact has been made. And it's here that Lloyd presses the point, saying, "I'm aware how this must have troubled not only Damien, but his family." And it's here Lloyd starts going over the information he has on him in his head, saying, "Chairman Desmond of the National Unity Party. I've studied his words in newspapers and on TV, his written works, and countless other sources for his personality profile. However, since he withdrew from public life, there's been virtually no way to learn about him. How can I earn his trust? How can I get him interested in Lloyd? I have no choice but to feel him out during this conversation. This conversation means everything. Eventually, I'll uncover all his innermost thoughts and all his plans for a new war." And as we transition back to the conversation, Lloyd says, "Please allow me to visit you at your home in order to apologize in a proper fashion." As Donovan says, "Oh, it's you. My staff mentioned that affair to me, but I didn't have time to take care of it myself." As he tells Lloyd, "Don't worry about it. It's only a children's squabble." And Damien's kind of mad about this. He's just like, "Father, she punched me in the face. Can you really just let it go like that?" And Lloyd tries to press the point too, saying, "No matter the circumstances, it was my daughter that hit him. I have to make up for it." But he tells them again, it's fine. As Lloyd realizes, man, he's a really curt person. meaning that he doesn't mince words on things. And as Damien tries to push the point more, Donovan just gives him a look. And Damien looks shook. And he tells him, never mind. But it's here that Lloyd showcases why he's the best spy in the West, as he says, no, your anger is entirely appropriate, Damien. I'll discipline her thoroughly so this doesn't happen again. Though, to be honest, my daughter is a little reckless. I'm not really sure what to do myself. Of course, I'm the one responsible for her, but I've learned the hard way that you can never fully control a child. I can't let myself feel like I can dominate her just because she's mine. She shouldn't deal with all my expectations and disappointments. Child raising really is a complicated business. And it's here we get a peek into who Donovan is, as he says, you are quite right. We may be bound by blood, but we are not the same. One person cannot truly understand another. Human beings will never come to a mutual understanding. As Lloyd thinks to himself, so that's why you want to make other countries submit through force, huh? Is that what you really are, Desmond? But he has to agree and say, that's exactly right. As Lloyd says, I'm a psychiatrist, but sometimes I wonder whether I can truly understand even a tenth of a patient's mind. Perhaps it is arrogant for people to claim they can understand. But what matters is that we make the effort to draw closer anyway. What my daughter thinks she's doing is a complete mystery to me. But even without understanding, I try to accept her as she is and create opportunities for us to talk to each other. Though it might be a bit hit or miss, I will never stop gathering information and seeking understanding. After all, didn't you make time for your son amid all your pressing business? As Donovan admits, perhaps you're right as well. And it's here Lloyd starts really laying it on thick as he tells Damien, I can see why you respect your father so much. Anya told me the other day when you were supposed to research different jobs. Anya was moved nearly to tears by your report. She wouldn't stop talking about it when she got home, which is a bold-faced lie. As he asked Donovan, did you see it? If not, that's a shame. I only heard about it from my daughter, but it was brimming with reverence and understanding of your work. I was positively moved. You have such a wise and loving son. I now see how seriously you take our national interest. I'm thinking of becoming a party supporter myself. That's just how compelling your son's report was. As Donovan says, you're quite an interesting man. You said your name was Forger, right? And it's here we see that he's about to leave, and Lloyd says, for now, it's enough that he just remembers my name. As he says, thank you for giving me some of your valuable time. But then he tells Damien, oh, by the way, don't tell Anya what I said about her. She can be a little contrarian, but that doesn't mean she doesn't like you, in my opinion. As we get a view of how Damien views Anya right here. As Lloyd says, I'd be happy if you treated her as a friend. And Damien, all embarrassed, is like, I don't mind. I guess I could do that. And as Lloyd makes his way out of there, Donovan looks at Damien and says, alright, so what did you want from me? And Damien just can't get the words out of his mouth that he wants to say. But then he remembers what Lloyd says. Like, what matters is that we make the effort to draw closer with each other. He even remembers Anya's words in this situation, and that gives him the courage to talk to his father, saying, Father, I got a Stella star on the midterms. It's only 1 star so far, but I came close in other subjects. I only got a 50 on my test the other day, though. Don't mind that one. The griffin I made also won a prize. As Donovan tells him, well done. And Damien asks him, Father, why did you take the time to see me today? As he tells him, it was just on a whim. Continue to work hard not to bring shame to the Desmond name, Damien, as he walks away. And even if it's only a little bit, we see Damien super happy that he got complimented by his father. who's still kind of a dick, frankly, but it's something at least. As we transition to Lloyd spectating this conversation, as he says, it wasn't an important conversation, but I have a better sense of the distance between the Desmonds now. Improving their relationship will be beneficial for Plan B, the friendship scheme. Still, Donovan Desmond is a hard man to grasp. The best approach may be to remove obstacles one by one. And before he leaves, Lloyd takes one look at Damien and his friends, super happy, enjoying themselves. And he gets reminded again of why he does his work to begin with. Believe it or not, Lloyd has a little bit of a soft spot for Damien. He won't admit it, but he does. And as we transition back to the Forger household, we see Anya still passed out with Bond, because Becky just dropped her off like a package. As Lloyd just looks at her and says, I guess she doesn't seem troubled. And our episode ends with a to be continued. Now, you guys might think that this is a pretty anticlimactic final episode. And it kind of is, but at the same time, it serves its purpose. Because the goal of our season, the goal of, honestly, the operation so far, has just been to make contact with Donovan. And Lloyd did exactly that today. If Donovan remembers his name going forward, they've already taken huge steps in Operation Strix. And Season 2 is just going to continue immediately after this. So it makes sense that we end like this. And man, I bet you guys didn't expect we'd be getting a movie too. I didn't. And you know the funny part is, the movie is original content. The movie is original, not manga content. It's a movie, it's content they're making literally just for the movie. So I won't know anything about it either. So I'm extremely excited for that. It's going to be a great time all around. And as much as it's sad to see Spy X Family go, I know we're not going to have to wait too much longer to see the Forgers yet again. So you guys let me know what you thought of this episode down below. And let me know how you feel about Spy X Family now that the first season is officially done. I would love to hear your thoughts about the series down below. I really would, because this series is so good. It really is so good. It has been one of the most popular series since it came out. Literally the third best-selling manga of this year. So, even beating One Piece. Let that sink in. But anyway, I'd love to hear your opinions down below. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and that you spend it with all your loved ones. So I'll see you guys next time, and happy holidays. Deuces.